Now, before we get too deep into the act of actually going and prospecting, I want you guys to be able to identify who it is that we're prospecting to, because it's something we need to think about as salespeople moving forward. So you do often see business coaches and business gurus and sales leaders sitting there saying, right, we need to identify who our customers are. And then what they might do is they might sit there and say, great, so they are the managing directors within a 10-mile radius of us that are managing director of a company of 10 people. That's quite light and that's quite thin in terms of the actual detail we're talking about here, because that might be fine for if you're just kind of picking up the phone or you're kind of, just going and knocking on doors. But one of the wonderful things about social media and social selling in general is we can be hyper specific about this stuff. Now, does this mean that we're, using all of these particular traits? Not necessarily, but it's really good to get a good idea of what sort of persona that our customers might be taking. So I want you to think about stuff like this. What the job title is, where they're based, absolutely. But what age range are they? What gender might they be? What sort of movies do they like watching? What cars do they like to drive? What's their favorite things to do at the weekends? Where do they hang out? This sort of stuff. Now, your customer that you get might not be exactly the same as these avatars. You might not be prospecting someone who is 100% fit to these individual people. But what it does do is it helps you really kind of drill down and start to think about with a much higher level of specificity what sort of features and traits they might particularly have. Now, we're going to be talking a little bit later on about disc profiling, but it's also really important to kind of figure out maybe what sort of disc profile they might have. We might be sitting there thinking about how reactive or proactive are they as a person? How people orientated are they? How task orientated are they? Because then when you do your searches online to be able to find some of these people or create content that kind of helps some of these people out, then you know who it is you're creating content to. And that sort of information can be really, really valuable. So, bit of an exercise. I would like you to make a bit of a list and write down 10 traits that the avatar of your perfect prospect would have. What sort of things do they like? Now, as I said, stuff like income bracket, job title, job history, education, say, where do they like to hang out? What kind of movies do they like? What kind of music do they like? Are they proactive people? Are they reactive people? What's the level of technical knowledge and technical expertise? This might have other stuff that might be specifically kind of attributed to your industry would definitely go into there as well. But generally speaking, this will allow you to create a complete picture in your mind of who you're going to prospect to. And once you've done that, you can figure out in a much easier way whether or not that prospect actually fits in with that image. What this will also allow you to do is really figure out whether or not you want to disqualify a prospect in a much easier way, because you can figure out what they should be and also what they shouldn't be. And it kind of takes a little bit of that pressure off of you, because you can sit there and say, well, okay, no, that's fine, but they don't necessarily fit who we're looking for. Now, I'm not suggesting that if they're not a perfect representation of all of these individual traits that you then go, no, they don't drive a Mercedes, therefore I'm not going to prospect to them, get out of my life. No, don't be silly. But what it does do is it allows you to kind of take a breath and understand that it's okay if you disqualify this prospect. It's okay not to do business, and it's okay to get a no from them, so long as you figure that out nice and early. In addition, you're a couple of lectures in now, and hopefully you're finding this course really, really useful. If that is the case, please do leave a 5-star review for us, because it goes a long, long way in allowing us to continue to produce these courses and help more people moving forward.